Oh yeah!
Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Planet Coaster 2 with Cookie Pirate. Today we are back in the Viking Park, picking up where we left off the other night. Let's dive right in. I got a few ideas for some stuff to do in this park. So I want to spend a little time doing that, and then just also improving some stuff that needs to be addressed. And well, we revamped this coaster over here, so we'll have to build a new path and station exit and everything like that. So I suppose we can do that. And we haven't really done anything with the new features in the game since this is my oldest park. Such as the modular souvenir shops and the ride photos and stuff like that. So maybe we can spend a little time kind of putting some stuff like that together. I think that could be a good addition into the park. But this is largely fleshed out. There's not a ton of room to expand, but there is some. Mainly toward the back end of the park. So I think there's enough we could occupy ourselves for a little while. Unlike with the tropical park, I'm just kind of burnt out on that. Having to constantly redo stuff. So first up, I do want to get this dealt with here. Now, I talked about moving these pools and everything kind of out of the way. Kind of into their own area where we can develop a section kind of specifically for the water park area, stuff like that. But I don't want to just outright delete this and leave people with nothing to do. Especially in the middle of... Wait. Yeah, in the middle of summer. It's 12 degrees Celsius, and look at all the people swimming in the pool. Hypothermia is not a thing in Planet Coaster, folks. Shem, welcome, man. Viking Park, awesome, yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy this park. It's kind of special to me because it was the first one that I... Not the first park I ever did, but this is the first full-fledged park that I really started to work on and flesh out. I did a couple parks just kind of experimentally when I first got the game, and really didn't know what I was doing, so I was kind of learning the ropes. Once I got a foundation of the basics, I started going to this, but you can tell, hey, Maria. They're Vikings, they're used to cold water. Well, I mean, the Vikings themselves might be, but not all these guests are necessarily Vikings. If they are, I'm gonna hire them. They could get costumes. So what do we have here? Power generators. We gotta deal something with the power situation here. All this other stuff. And in this park, compared to the tropical one, I've left a lot of the terrain around the edges and stuff like that untouched. So I've really tried to preserve the layout around the edge of the park. I have adjusted it a couple times in some spots, but not much. Pretty marginally compared to the tropical park, where I've just completely overhauled all of the terrain all over the park. We did do some water stuff, and I kind of built upon this. Over time. But definitely still to a lesser extent than the tropical one. So what I'm thinking here is we're actually going to move these. I want them out of the way. I want to try to get a clear path to this coaster over here. Now, one thing we could do, I think there's enough room. We could reverse to the direction of the station. It'll give us a little more room to work with. Oh no! Yeah, because the railroad track... Well, I mean, we could still build over that or around it, but that's going to make things a bit trickier. We'll do the station buildings, too. One of my favorite non-coaster rides ever is Valhalla at Blackpool. Such an immersive and epic water dark ride, and the Norse theming is super ominous. I have heard of that. I'm not well familiar with it, but I have heard of it, and I've heard it's incredible. I got a late start. It's probably really an average start time for this game, but I was gonna do Flight Sim. I was gonna do the new Flight Sim because I actually did finish setting it up and configuring it yesterday. But I had too much stuff that I was trying to handle at home, and because I didn't stream this yesterday, this was a higher priority for me today. Tomorrow, I'm going to do the new Flight Sim, probably 2 flights in that. So I'm not sure if I'll get back to this game tomorrow. Possibly Friday, and over the weekend, I'll be doing plenty of both. Got a pretty good variety of flights that I want to do, and I think this weekend... I don't know exactly when, but I'm planning this weekend to start the brand new park. I'm sorry, I need to get up real quick. My foot is starting to hurt, and I need to take care of that real quick. Of course, I sit down, get going with that, and then I have occasional problems with my feet, so it's nothing serious. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about the short delay there. Got that taken care of. Rhett, welcome, man. How are you? Alright, real quick, we're gonna... Oops, people are going up to buy stuff over here. I do the multi-select, and we will grab shop, and building, and people are walking away, so we're good to move all 3 of them. And I think I'm just gonna move it... it's going to be out of the range of power. But we'll just place it over here for now. Where is this and what does it cover? Oh. Nothing right now. Oh, actually it does, no. We just move these right back here. All of that's covered. Bralmick, welcome! Did you see the next update for PC2 is coming out September 16th? I did! I saw that a couple hours ago. I only watched the YouTube kind of snippet of it. I haven't read the actual news article. But it looks like a kind of underwhelming update, to be honest. I really do like the idea of straight edge or corner paths. I think that's going to make it really nice to build really good kind of covered queues and get them to fit inside buildings. That's going to be super nice. But I mean, unless you're trying to build like a fun house or like an earthquake-themed park or something like that, I don't really get the purpose of tilting all of the buildings and stuff. That really doesn't do much for me, personally. I think they are focused on the paid DLC they teased. I have not seen that. I'm curious to see what that DLC is. I think that it could be a lot of fun. I will say, you know, and we were talking about this on the Flight Sim stream a few nights ago, but a lot of games lately, especially this year or late last year, have had really rough releases. Planet Coaster Frontier has done a fantastic job making the updates to this game to make it not only playable but enjoyable and more in-depth. And I think at this point, and from what I've heard a lot of other people say, is that they are actually in favor of giving Frontier money for a DLC. Just kind of in nod and appreciation to the work that they've done to make this game so much better than it was at launch. I'm curious to see what the DLC has, and I'll evaluate if I want it based on what I think I would get out of it. But I'm keeping my eyes out and my ears peeled to see what it comes up with. I really like the pool area. It looks great. Man, I appreciate that. It's kind of basic compared to the ones in the tropical park, but I've got plans to move this and kind of flesh it out. Follow a bunch of PC2 content creators. They all share that same sentiment. I think the community at large, not just in terms of content creation, but players overall, have been really positively receptive to the changes, really how Frontier stepped it up to make this game better after a rocky launch. I look forward to seeing what it has. Or I should say what they have in store for the DLC. Is the green one new? Not per se. Rhett, I built a hypercoaster like this quite a while back. I think I actually did this before my old PC in January failed. I could be wrong on that. I don't remember exactly. However, a certain somebody in chat who posted right above you actually did a fantastic job remaking this. And we replaced the old one with the updated one. Bralmick did a fantastic job with this coaster. I'm thrilled. The excitement went up almost a full point. It was in the mid-6s. It's in the mid-7s now. So it's a much better ride. It took out a lot of the filler tracks, smoothed it, and but it kept the overall design. Did a fantastic job with this coaster. Why, Mr. Pirate, sir, you're making me blush. No, really, credit where credit's due, and I'm not trying to flatter you. I don't like flattering people, and I don't like being flattered, but I'm really thrilled with the job that you did with that coaster. It's phenomenal. Alright. Next, to prepare the station area, let's actually get rid of this. sound the, I like the downhill brakes at the end. Yeah, so I actually did that on the original one. And that was themed off of how most of the Gigas, and many, not all, but many hypers, have their brake run going downhill. That way you get a little pop of airtime, and then you come up into the brakes and finish the ride out. And he actually put separate entrance and exit platforms. It takes up a little bit more space this way, but it's more opportunity for scenery. And it also improves the ride experience by not having a long sit at the brake run. And also, in a way, it kind of helps with capacity, because you have more time to load a station with another train out on the course. And we can set the timings. Because there's no mid-course block brakes. There's this here, which is kind of, but it's more just trim or friction brakes. Which, in my opinion, is the better way to go. Helps keep the pacing, because if that... On these hypers, if you stop at the mid-course, you lose a ton of speed, and in some rides, I've actually had it where they failed to finish the end because of that. I almost ran into that problem on Mako 2 over in the Tropical Park, where it crawled over one of those hills off the mid-course. No, it is a block brake? Oh! Well, nothing has ever stopped on it, and I prefer to keep it that way. At least it was when I uploaded it. Okay, then it is. I have not changed it. The blocks just don't hit. Yeah, brake. B-R-A-K-E. I'm not super picky on spelling and stuff like that, but yeah, there's a considerable difference. Oh, you like the trees in the pool? Yeah. Kind of that tries to keep that Viking theming kind of in the pool. Okay, so we've cleared all of this out, so let's prepare. We're probably going to have to move this. But I'm thinking for these stations... Oh, look at that. It's underground. You know what? Let's place it even further underground in the station. And for this ride, what kind of... Has a long queue time, really? Is it because of the length they're having to walk through the queue or something, or what? I think I'm gonna play Planet Coaster for the first time in a month tomorrow. Awesome! Man, you know, you could have made that decision on your own, and I might not know of it, but I'm hoping when I do stuff in this game that I kinda inspire people to play the game and be creative. That's what this is all about. I mean, my whole point of streaming, I don't make any money, my channel's not big enough for that, but I don't really care about making money. It just gives me a little bit more justification in spending time on games. If I can just make some content, have fun, talk with people, it's less boring. Because it sometimes isn't fun for me, even if the game is fun. I'm just like, don't have anybody to talk to or share ideas, and it's all about sharing ideas. I hope that you all can learn something from me in playing this game, and I hope I can learn things from you all. And that just makes everybody better at the game. Kind of creative. It's all about sharing ideas and just kind of having a good time together. Alright, let's go in here, set the Viking theme. what type of walls. So we could do the stone walls. We can do these wooden walls. On the subject of sharing, I redid the V&M invert you uploaded, but if Jimpers already did that, you don't need to download mine, but if you want it, I can check it out. I'm gonna open up a poll, and before I do, I'm gonna show you what I have in this area. So we have two dragon-themed rides. They're kind of separate from each other, but we have a stone wall with one of these roofs. Kind of doesn't really match. So we could do stone or wooden over here. And I'll open that up real quick. Hey, I have to go, I have to do homework. Ah, man, that sucks, Rhett. Well, have a great evening, come back later if you can. If not, I totally understand. So, we'll catch you whenever you are able to make it back, man. Have a great evening. I really do try not to use any MCBRs on coasters I make on here. I know it's needed for throughput, etc., but just for the flow, it's so much more fun. Oh, I just clicked the wrong. There we go. Oh wait, that's gotta be it right there. Go. Love the lift hill through the loop a la Kumba, by the way. Appreciate it. I actually built this, Oh, whoops, hit the wrong button there. Why don't I know what MCB are? Mid-course brake run. So, you can look, and you can actually see this ride was largely inspired by Kumba, except in the fact that it's a floorless, but it has a similar drop. Loop through the lift hill, dive loop, 0G roll over the plaza, and then the big difference is instead of a turn and cutting up into the Cobra roll out here and coming up into the brakes, I decided to do a Sea Serpent instead. I'm a bigger fan of those. And just give it a little variety. And then it curves, it does a 180, kind of like how Kraken goes out of the Cobra roll and up into that curve, but it's less drawn out. And then you have the curved drop into the interlocking corkscrews. The dive into this little cavern here, and there's a layered helix underground. Very much like Kumba. So this ride was largely inspired off of that. It's quite a similar layout, actually. Alright, so we have 3 votes, all of them for wooden. That's good enough for me. Very nice, that is cool. I prefer the Sea Serpent rolls too. I'm a much bigger fan of bat wings than Cobra rolls. Cobra rolls just don't do a whole lot for me personally. I'll take a bat wing. I actually haven't been on a ride with a Sea Serpent, to my knowledge. I'd have to go back and think if I have, but I don't think so. But I figured it would just be a nice element that would suit the layout for what I intended with the coaster. Alright, so let's grab these 4-meter wooden walls. No, not add to the distributor. There we go, align with the station. And if we want to route anything through here, we Bromik, if you said you've been on Afterburn at Carowinds, that has a Batwing. Not a fond memory as far as coasters go, so I don't remember it much, but as I said, if I get back to Carowinds, I'll give it another try. It really is a good coaster. I can understand why not everyone would like it. It is very intense. It's short and it doesn't let up. Montu at Busch Gardens is... Afterburn for me is like a mini Montu. But Montu, you do get a little bit of a break. Oh, no, that needs to go away. Because you do have a really nice mid-course. And the pacing seems a little better for me on Montu. But Afterburn, it's just... You're going non-stop the whole way. But it's a fun ride. I will say that the times I've been on it this year, it depends on the train that you get to. There's one train that rides a little... I say a little, it's noticeable, but it's not so significant that it negatively impacts, in my opinion. But one of the trains is noticeably smoother than the other. One of them kind of gives a mildly rough ride, but for a B&M invert, by those standards, it's mildly rough. It's not janky in comparison to Arrows or Woodens or stuff like that. Smiler has a Sea Serpent roll. That's right, it does. I know it had the Batwing and the Cobra. And the Sea Serpent is my favorite out of the 14. Wow. Now, it actually would be possible to just build a really long, kind of in the style of like a Viking longhouse, in a way. It would be 2 tiles over, just kind of covering the mid-course, or not the mid-course, but the not the final. Just the kind of the roll in between the 2 stations. Alright, I'm gonna actually just go ahead and shut the ride down. It doesn't need to test more, but we may actually... you know what? We should have thought of that before, because we're gonna have to move the building. Nemesis here is like another B&M invert, very short, but all killer, no filler, and super intense. Kind of like Black Mamba, but from what I've heard, Black Mamba's a little bit less extreme of a ride. Super good in its own right. Would love to get to a European park someday. I watched a couple of content creators that go to parks there. One today was in the UK's oldest park in the Isle of Man. Whoa. That would be awesome, like a hall for the station. Yeah! Tell you what, while I'm thinking about it, I think we will reverse the direction of this station right here. And honestly, you could even move it backwards. You know what? I think I'm actually going to do that here. We're gonna change... So that's a 5 section. I'm gonna do that. We're gonna put the exit station right here. And then drive tires. And then we could actually just run the catwalk over. And then the question is, would we want to... And the reason I'll do this is there's less time that they're sitting kind of going off the final brakes around the curve. I don't think it would make a big difference, but it would also kind of help with spacing. Because we could actually route the queues downward and kind of have the plaza bigger. I'm probably going to end up redoing a bunch of this over here anyway. Turn the catwalk on right there. Black Gang Chime is the Isle of Man Park, I think. Never been. Oh, that's where he was. It wasn't a very big park, but it looked like a nice day out. Cool. Alright, if we want to reverse the station, we have to do so now, and we'll have to just grab the building and rotate it. That would probably allow us to build... Well, no, because we have to create the staff path over here as well. There's also a sister coaster to Nemesis at Thorpe Park called Nemesis Inferno. I've heard of it. Layout like the Batman clones. OG Nemesis, I much prefer. Yeah, I've heard it's a lot better. Let me go with, see, let me think, because we'd have the regular queue, the priority, staff. Exit's gonna be super easy. Yeah, I like it reversed. There's enough room between the track over here too, so... Now the question is, oh, you know what? Alright, now I'm going to delete that, and then when I go to replace that, I'll be able to link it back to the station. Align. And then just rotate. No, that actually is right. Okay. Alright. And we're good there. Alright, let's finish this out. Whoops. Come on, go back. Alright. Custom. Now we gotta scroll back down to find those, I think it's going to be a 2-meter piece here. Perfect. What we'll do is multi-select. Oh, not the whole thing. Alright, so that's the building. I purposely left this open in case I want to route anything through there. We may not. I don't know. For this over here, I think it'll be pretty easy as well. Except, we have the railroad track running through here. So, that might require a little bit of modification, but we'll figure it out. We could also just reroute the railroad. May end up redoing that anyway. Alright, let me get these in place. Let's do... making an entrance, maybe... maybe directly over that. Guests won't pay 50 cents for this attraction. We'll place the priority queue. Actually, let's place the staff gate first. That'll have to be back here at the corner. Now we can go in and do... yeah, let's do something like that there. Now the ride needs an exit. Let's give this a ride. You can just check out. That's cool, you got a great view of that other train passing. So glad the tunnel still works. Well, it lined up perfectly. That was awesome. Oh, look at that. It actually boosted the excitement by 0.3 of a point. Wow. Oh, that's even better. Now, not to go too far, but if we put the lift hill immediately out of the station, I think you would get a smaller gain by doing that. I'm not worried about it. I actually like this because a lot of hypers and gigas actually have a set of drive tires out of the station before they go up. Particularly Fury jumps in my mind. Now we'll have to set the paths. Staff queue really doesn't matter how it goes if we just want to try to keep it somewhat aesthetically nice. We'll have to route the queues. But tell you what, let's actually go ahead and finish out the tops of the station here. The really cool thing about this is you can have like narrow slatted windows. I think the reason they do that is the moving train puts less tension on the chain lift, but I'm no engineer. I think that's pretty accurate. Excuse me. I actually like the way this looks. It makes it a little bit more of a little more cavernous, so to speak, but still letting enough natural light come through. I guess the other thing you could do is invert them so they're higher to the ceiling. How would we do that, actually? Let's just click on that, and I think what you would have to do... Oh, you can't do an advanced move. Yeah. No, so it stays as it is. And then over here we need to... Station surround, yeah. Now, fun fact on these sit-down coasters, you can actually lower it for 3 meters of clearance. But we're just going to stick with the 4 since it aligns properly. Stand-up coasters, you can't really do that. I tried it, and I think it was the surf coaster when I was building that station, and the tops of people's heads were passing through the wall. It was like, oh, I can't do that. And then, so we can do curved arches, or we can do... I don't like that because it has those very subtle curves, and I mean the top is so thinned out. This is the better way to go. If you hold the shift key while you place a building piece, you can drag it up or down. Yeah, I did that a couple times. But generally stacking them when you're placing on top of all of this stuff works for me fine, but when we do the roofs, we'll... Alright. Let's lay the foundation for... Oh, you know what? This is a little bit narrow. But we have the height. We could turn this into a gift shop. Have them walk down the exit out of the station and go through. Kind of like what we did with a couple other rides in the past, and kind of how some... We need... Well, actually, how do we need to remove that? I think we can build this as part of the same scenery group. No, can't, because it doesn't line up on the grid. You could change the grid size. Let me see, does that help it align better? No, it's still offset just a little bit. What about 1 meter? That's as low as... 1 meter's as low as you go. Oh, it's just barely off. Ah, that's okay. We'll build it as a separate building. It'll count. Dale, welcome, man. Thank God you're playing PC2 right now. Park looks great per usual. You need to build a Microsoft Flight Simulator coaster ASAP. I'm not sure how we would do that. We can figure it out. When are we gonna collab? I want to come in and work on my park. I want people to collaborate with my stuff. But yeah, you know what? I'm willing to help other people out. We'd have to just coordinate it. Yeah, Dale, I felt kind of bad yesterday because I had spent so much time trying to get the new flight sim all set up and everything, and I had nothing but problems with it. And when I got off, I had stuff to do late in the evening, so I didn't get to it. So I said today I'm just going to play this. Tomorrow I'm going to do the new flight sim, because I did end up getting it configured. And I may or may not do PC2 tomorrow night. It depends on if I get an early enough start with the new flight sim. But I can say this weekend I plan on doing a pretty extensive amount of both. Maria knows the flight sim way too well. It's simple, place some trucks around the park randomly. Oh, that's become one of my favorite catchphrases in flight sim, at least in 2020. I don't know if the 24 they resolve it or if they do the same thing. Get off the runway! I actually had it happen. I was coming into land at a, No, we have to do it completely separately. So we've got to close out, go back in from scratch, and align with this station. Alright. Anyway, yeah. I had it happen where I was coming into land and a truck drove right out on the runway and I had to, go around. I was not too happy about that. Other people, you know, viewers thought it was funny, but I was not huge on that occurrence. I legit built a coaster that has a plane for the seats and it kills on the test score and named it the Cookie Pirate Microsoft Flight Simulator Coaster. Oh man, I'd like to check that out. I bet that was pretty funny. Over here we need the station surround. Actually, first we need... Yeah, we can work from the top down, actually. Yeah, trees in the way a little bit right there. Another 2 meters surround. Or it's not a surround, it's a 2 meter below the surround. There we go. I legit built... Oh, I already read that, sorry. Oh, we gotta figure out this railroad. I was kind of tempted to route it through the bottom of the station, but I'm not sure. Let's go with these narrow windows. Shut it down for now. Okay. That actually doesn't look too bad, I suppose. How much did my PC build cost, if you don't mind me asking? I'm not going to give an exact amount. It was a little over $2,000. I got a good deal on a lot of parts. This is a pretty high-end system. And for comparison, the pre-built that I bought in June that I had all the overheating issues with was more than that. And the one that I built about 3 years ago that ended up failing in January was, I think, about the same. I want to say it might have been closer to $2,500 at the time. But you know, one thing that really helped with that was that I was able to sell all of the good parts from the old system and really offset a pretty considerable amount of what I had to pay for the new one. So net, I'm not out $2,000. Oh, this is going to be a little bit tough because a couple of these pieces are underground, so we might have to get creative with, But that's to say, if we actually want to build a gift shop down here, I'm kind of leaning toward that, honestly. So, tell you what we're going to do here. Gonna delete a bunch of these walls. That is gonna require us to actually shut down the ride and change the track supports off. In here it doesn't matter. Yeah. It's gonna make us test the ride again. It's fine. Unfortunately, the power distributor will have to be moved if we're going to open all of this up for, Whoa! Why did it send me all the way back into the rocks? Heh. Little odd. I don't know why I wasn't using that right now. Oh! There we go. Place that right down there for now. We can move it further. So what we might need to do is actually... We're going to have to remove all of these. Okay. Let me figure this out. Thought the track supports look badass in that building for the gift shop. But the problem is once you start building stuff under it, the supports are going to go away anyway, but then you have all these columns just sticking out, and I don't know. It's easier with an open space. And if you look at it though, the station technically is supported by the walls of the building, and you kind of have this... Not exactly, but it kind of gives the effect of a kind of a tiled roof. Now the other thing we could do is just leave these in place and then build... I'd like it to go through here. So these all actually could stay and we just have the entrance. Alright, let me see how we would do. We're gonna turn the grid height. Oh, you can go down to 1/4 meter there. To 1/2 meter. The other thing we could do is raise the ground up slightly, just to get it to align with that right there. Okay. We're gonna go into stamps and just size 1. Let me figure this out. You know, that actually could work. It's 2.5 meters. People should be able to walk under that fine. It may be a bit low. What I want to try to get it to do is line up. Yeah, we're going to have that raised slightly. Alright, and then I think what this will require is a 2 and 1 meter section. Perfect. Yeah, that'll work. We can raise this terrain ever very slightly. And then we're going to have to do the same for everything below here. And we'll set the paths accordingly here. It's starting to get a little warm. Let me turn the fan on in the room. My current office is one of the hottest rooms in my house. Man, I've only been on for an hour. It feels like longer. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll come back in and do, do we want to do shop front walls? We'll need an exit, probably about where we could actually even move that over. Oh, whoops. This looks fire AF. I appreciate that. Here's the other thing we could do. If we're gonna go full height, we could actually raise, we could do regular walls and do, or we could do a double tier of windows. I like that. I don't know, what looks better? Does that look better, or should we have the windows just like one set of windows up here? I kind of like the effect of having them doubled. However, we'll probably want some straight, solid walls to place things up against. I'm thinking keeping that open over here and then doing solid walls here. Could you do glass walls floor to ceiling with wood trim? Ooh. I really do like that idea. I'm not totally sure. Alright, this is gonna be tough. We'll give it a shot. We will need at least one side of the building to be solid wall again to put like shelves and counters up against and everything. I think we can try it. I really do like the idea of that. I'm just not sure how it would Cookie can do it, Cookie can do anything. Not anything, but... This would definitely be one of the toughest. Let's have the grid at 1 meter. Arch would be right there. That's height. Or otherwise, if we wanted to do floor to ceiling, what we would do is use these pieces right here. The difference would be the glass would be seamless. Wooden beams for the time and square glass piece for the wall. So you don't want to do the wide window piece like this. That would honestly be easier. Because the problem with the glass that I've found is they don't line into place on a grid. Now, there may be a way around that, but every time I've tried to build like a glass station or something like that, it hasn't come out right. That would work too. I think this is easier. It would look a little better. I think it would look more uniform. And any imperfections in the placement of the glass, this would cover up. What? Oh! No, I just want to grab those two. Plus, it's my building. I know it's my building, but I like to listen to y'all's input. You all have really good ideas. Goes back to what I was saying before about people just sharing ideas and kind of having fun building stuff together. Then we would do the same thing on this side. This would require us to remove let me go in these. We're gonna have to have 2 meter wall pieces there. Let's go back and add one on that side. And then here. All the way around the station. Ah! Oh, that's gonna look really good. Now we'll go grab 4 meter wall pieces just for the back over here. Lower it 1 meter and that lines up. And then right down here. Alright, and then any other areas where we need to put shelves or counters against, what we could do is just put solid pieces on the lower level, and then have the upper level still have all of the glass. But that's a start for now. What we'll need to do next is a 1 meter piece. I'm going to cry with how beautiful this building will be. Oh man, don't do that. Not much of a view out that way. So what I think we'll do is just solid walls on each short end of the building. Perfect. And then we'll delete these pieces so that they have entrances in and out. Okay. Now that that is set, everything's in place the way we want it. Let's do the roof for the stations here. And let's see what are our roof options. We have the tiled roof, pitched corners. That's really it, unfortunately. JP, gaming and streaming. Hello there, big boy. What's going on, man? Welcome. So what I'm thinking is maybe wait, how long have I been playing this? Like how much? I got the game back in January, played it a little bit, and then I've really kind of picked up with it since I would say June. We do a 4-meter pitch in the center. Does it look better there or down a meter? I like that. Bro, no wonder bro doesn't build like a caveman. Ah. It takes practice. Believe it or not, I had to spend a few hours off stream, kind of really getting the hang of building things. But once you get it, it's like clockwork. Up, oh, actually down is better. You could leave that gap for airflow. You could. Let me look at how some of these over here, some of these buildings, just kind of for reference, because they have similar parts. Add some trim on top would actually be really cool. It's tough to tell right there. Put nets. Could do that. You should add like floors on the top to cover the bad parts inside the roof so it's nice and smooth. You know, I thought about that. I do like, if you come in and look, we can turn that off now. If you look here, though, you see, because they have the beams that come down on each side, so we could do a level of floors. Yeah, it does look a little odd. But the cool thing about, like with these, oh yeah, because of the beams. In a traditional, like I'll show you, I'm actually gonna go over to this one, real quick. Because this is 2 tiles wide. And you can see, if we do, here's the other thing we, oh no, we could not because they curve that way. So, just for example, if we wanted to, we could do a more flat roof like this. And you see it just... trying to get a better glimpse of it. And now these side panels look even. I don't know. I do kind of like the I like the raised roof better for that. So yeah, I think we probably should go through. The Roblox Rail fan, welcome. How are you? Yeah, so like for this here, it would just be a rounded roof. Or the other thing we could do is use some of these pitched gable ridges, or this, and just do a straight slope. You know what we could do as well is delete these, and that's a curved end, but if you take a look over at the shops, they use a straight roof. Okay, well I don't know much, but what I do know, yeah, you should add like floors and stuff like that. Yeah, to level the ceiling. Yeah. I will, I'll figure out a way to kind of even that out, because it does look wonky with these lower pieces there. Murray says, all trucks are busy at the moment, they're on the runway. Why does Blue Streak at Cedar get all the hate? It's a smooth, airtime-filled ride that deserves more attention. It looks pretty ugly if it is like that. Yeah. We can smooth that out. So I'm thinking what we'll do for the exit station is just one of these. This is pretty generic. Add to scenery group. And let's just... Oh, come on. Now, if you look in here, this... let's go up above the track. This doesn't look as bad, because it's even. And then if you come in through here, it looks wonky because of those. So, yeah, we would... I think we would extend kind of floor runners. Bro, that's what I'm saying. Why does it get hate? I've heard it's a pretty decent ride. I haven't been on it myself. I've not been to Cedar Point. Alright. Corkscrew, I can understand why it gets hard. Every time I rode it, it gave me a migraine. Oh, that sucks. Why does the ceiling glitch? I don't know. It's a graphical effect. I think that's in the game itself. It's not my graphics card, because on my old systems it did the same thing. Okay. We need floors. Add to scenery group, and we need to raise it. Question if it's right there is, does it stick through? It does. I think these are a meter thick, or I mean, I'm sorry, a half meter. Gosh. Put the glass in, LOL. Yeah. We'll get to it, man. Give me a little bit of time. Because I do want to get the station. That definitely does look better. Although I do like the lofted appearance. Is that all of it? Yeah, that's the whole thing. Doesn't stick out the edges like that. Looks pretty good to me. The corkscrew is also fun, but Siren's Curse, moi, chef's kiss. Although ironically, all of the problems that it had, like, I remember seeing a news article saying it had broken down like 5 times in the first month or something. I have to go do chores working for a wristband at the fair. I'll try joining next stream. Alright, well, thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate you hanging out. Loving how the station's coming along. Yeah, Shem, it's going to come together real nicely. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is going to be a marvelous building right here. Alright, what we'll do is get rid of that and replace it with this. We don't talk about the problems with Siren's Curse. I do. All jokes aside, though, despite the problems, I've heard it's a fantastic ride. Yeah, that looks better to me. All new coasters have teething issues. I think it'll be flawless for next year. Yeah, I mean, look at Top Thrill 2. Unless I'm missing something major about it. Seems like they worked out the issues. Oh, we can't do that because these are two separate scenery groups. Yeah, we should go ahead and do the same thing here to make it uniform, in my opinion. Add to scenery group, and we just need to lower it there. There we go. Top Thrill 2 is running perfectly fine with operations. First time I rode it, I felt like the coaster, I'm guessing you're saying this is a Siren's Curse, was gonna go off the tracks and I die. No! I'd rather go to Cedar Point for Top Thrill 2 than Siren's Curse. I'm not sure that I agree with you on that personally. I would say I'm probably more inclined, but I think if I would go, I'd have to knock both out. But there are so many other good coasters at Cedar Point that I'd love to get on. Oh, this is really starting to come together. Nice. Okay. I want to clear out of all of that. Giovanola came up with their own concept for a tilt coaster. There's videos online of a model, and it was way more complicated than Vekoma's. LOL, check it out. You want to try both, but Top Thrill is more interesting to me. Yeah, that's where I'm not totally sure that I agree. It's hard for me to choose. I haven't really thought about it, but they're... Either way it could go, they would both be close. In terms of interest for me. Steel Vengeance, yeah. That's one I'd love to get on. I'm a big Iron Gwazi fan at Busch Gardens. I got to ride that 8 times when I was there. No, 6. And I didn't mind waiting an hour for it. I rode Montu 8 times. I rode Kumba 0 times because it was shut down, but I can't wait for it to reopen. As soon as I hear there's news of it reopening, I'm planning my trip back down to Busch. Bro and me and Mom went on it. She screamed so much she sounded like a completely different person. That tends to happen. come on. Maverick is my most anticipated coaster there. I disagree with that. It does look like a good ride, but Maverick isn't one of those that really pops out to me, although I've heard it's really good. It's just not... It's not something that is my type. Hey, Jumpers, what's going on? You finished that invert. I'll send the share code. You can check it out. Awesome. Try to get that to... No more glitches. Yeah, right. Well, yeah, it's because everything is sealed up. Once you add all the pieces in the right place, it kind of seals. Now, this is the problem that I have with this. Ah! Okay. Shum, we can go and let him go on any whatever he likes and we'll do our thing. Yeah, there you go. Alright, the next thing we need to do is scale. What did I just do? Oh, all of that got reset, but I'm going soon, so I'll check it on the next stream. Alright, man. Thanks so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of the evening. We'll catch you soon. I just lost that. I did. Alright, advance rotate. Set it to 90 degrees. I'll set the scale. 175, I think, was what we had. Yeah, sorry for having a subjective opinion. Hey, everybody's entitled. You know what they say, everybody's entitled to their opinion even if it's wrong. Jimpers, I'll check that code out here in a little bit. May I suggest tinting the windows green to match the coaster? You know... It's funny you mention that, because I'd actually thought about changing the color of the coaster. I'm not sure. Opinions are like a-holes, everybody's got one. Oh, yeah. Alright. Next, what we'll do is advanced move, and we're just gonna... Seen down. This time, this is lining up a little bit better. Ah, excuse me. I get the hiccups. I appreciate it, Dale. Is that, you and Bromik had a fantastic idea doing the glass panes. That really does look nice. I may have mentioned before, we may take a couple of these out. First you move my exit station and then you want to repaint it. Did you clear this with the permit department? Hmm? Alright, now we gotta move this up. You know, this actually looks a little bit like the, back when they did the trailer for the update, for the modular souvenir shops and the ride photos, they actually had a station and a gift shop built that was quite similar to this. But I think it looks gorgeous. You want to do dark color which for no reason makes them look clearer. Oh, there's a way to darken it, and it's by the transparency. I'll show you that. Alright, now we gotta move these back over here at the high level. Or back there. Done. Are there two right here? No. Okay, so we can undo and put that back in place. Ooh, that does look cool. Yes, it was 2 levels and was very cool. Oh, that looks so good. And I think using the windows actually makes it better. Because the glass panes without this trim make the glass extremely difficult to line up. Even with the grid, it can be tough. When I built that liquid impulse coaster in the tropical park and did the glass roof, you would not imagine how difficult that was, getting those to line up properly. And even at the end, they were not perfect. So they don't fit the standard tile size. Alright. So, talking about coloring and tinting the windows, here's what you do. We're going to select this one. Change the color of the glass. This, if you don't have any sort of walls or trim around it, you have... I'm just going to duplicate this and place it here. So you can kind of see the pane around the edges. That's what that changes. So, we're going to go back into here, for example. And what you would do... is you can change the color and set the transparency or the opacity down to 0%, makes it completely clear. With the white, it kind of gives it this little tint. If you were to make it 100%, it's not completely opaque, but it is much more heavily tinted. And if you're inside looking out, that's like dark tint on your car windows or something like that. So, but we'll undo that, just change the color back to what it was. It'll be easy to change these. We can select them all and change them all at once. It turned out breathtaking, nice work, Perfecto. I appreciate that. Yeah, what a great idea, whoever suggested that. I think that was you, and I think Dale seconded it. Phenomenal idea. Okay. So we're into day 15. We're missing a piece of glass. Okay, there we go. Now the next thing to do is going to be figure out how we are going to build this up. What I think we need to do is we're going to get the terrain leveler 100%, and we're going to do a very small... It's making no difference. Alright. Tell you what, we might be able to do something with height work. How are people getting in and out of there? Yeah, I haven't cleared that yet, but we'll address that. They're going to get in here. And we'll choose one of these over here to get them out. I like the potential for skylights and ambient lighting with the glass roofs. Yes. That's the best part about it. Then you don't really have to worry too much about the internal lighting. Alright, I'm going to take a break from that. We got the buildings done per se. We just have to do the path work and the ride exits and stuff. I want to check those inverts out. Let me go up and get Jimper's code. Or not. I select it right here in the middle. I think when the update allows grid pieces to rotate, you'll see a lot of skylights and glass roofing. That is an advantage I didn't think of, because you can manually rotate them, but, there we go, just saved. Yeah, for sure, just possibilities. It may make it easier to align that way, but you can manually rotate the pieces to how you need, and it's generally sufficient. Alright, let me find an open plot of land. This over here should be okay. I'm gonna check both of these coasters out. So let me get the one that Bromik made. And we'll do the one that Jimper's made. Can you possibly tell me how the profiling on the 0G roll is? Yes. Alright, that's the one that Jimper's made. I'll place them both. Give enough clearance for the bat wing there. Let me find the one that Bromik made. Two very different layouts. This is more of a kind of comes out back that way, then it comes back and around. This kind of follows a little more of a box pattern. Interesting. Alright, so let me look at that's not really Well, no, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say it doesn't really look much like a 0G roll. It looks more like an inline twist, except for the fact that you have that hill. And it actually does start the roll, and it flattens out for a fair bit of time. It looks cool. It's kind of interesting. Bat wings will never not be good. Fully agree. Alright. And, yes, I did. You probably saw it. I did save. You have yourself one of the nicest exits and gift shops ever. However, I'm going to share with you the workshop code for the Cookie Pirate Microsoft Flight Simulator Experience Coaster. Go for it. Alright, this one actually is a pretty steep lift hill. And the elements are similar. You get the 0G. This one here, it's interesting because it tapers, like its fully upside down point is about right here where you start going downward. That is an interesting profile. If you look at the old Gen invert 0G rolls, they'll all look like that. The reason is the heart line. Interesting. I like it. I'm curious to see how that will, let's move that tree there. Let's give these a ride. I'll give this one first. I love B&M inverts too. They're probably, aside from hypers, they're probably my favorite type of coaster. And that might be a hot take. Unusual is there's no pre-drop, and you drop straight as opposed to kind of banking and swooping down. I like that. Ooh. Nice little hop before the Batwing. Hop of airtime right there. Nice swoop up into the mid-course. Oh no! We went underground. Alright. Alpengeist. Oh, Alpengeist was my first invert. That was really cool. The, like, this half here is really snappy. And that's cool. Although, you might need a little bit more in terms of brakes. Maybe not. I think that 0G roll is taken a little bit too fast. And kind of up into this, into that turn, I think it was probably a little bit high on the laterals. Let me go in and take a look at the test results. Stats was really good in terms of excitement here. Let me go back to the previous run. It's super high through here. I really actually like the pacing of the first half of the ride. I feel like it rushes a little bit through the second half. And if you look at Fear, it's right on point, although it does kind of spike a little bit right here. It may take this a little bit too fast, and then you immediately go up into a very tight cutback. It keeps its pacing through there. That's well done. Let's check out Jimpers. There are trims after the mid-brake if you want to slow it down. Yeah, that might help a little bit. Oh, you know, one thing I didn't notice when I was looking at it at first. This actually has a, a declined final brake run. What are the results? Well, I showed the excitement and stuff. I'll take a look at the actual. .58, 115. That's a good sized. Yeah, 2.86 on the laterals. That's a bit high. 6.5 on the max vertical G's. That's a bit much. 8 inversions. I don't think I realized it had 8. Because you got 1, 2, 3. The bat wing is 5. Yeah, 6, 7, 8. Holy cow. That'd be a record. I mean, the only 2 coasters that I can think of that have, inverts that I can think of that have 7 inversions are Montu and Banshee. Raptor, maybe? No, I think Raptor has 6. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I love inversions on these B&M inverts. That's a ride I think I would really like. I can play with the trim brakes, see about bumping that a bit. Let me, before I go back to Jimpers real quick, let me see where the G is. That's a bit high right there, but that's not the 6.5. That's gonna be down here, I think. It hits 5 there. That's... Oh, is it maybe right here? No, it's definitely these sections right here would be tempered down a little bit. Adjusting the brakes on the trim speed would. Speed on the trim brakes. Heh. Let's go to Jimpers. I actually really like the look of this one too. This looks very smooth. World-class execution, I agree. Zero-G roll does look cool. The final corkscrew on Nemesis is oddly profiled and seems like a zero-G roll, and I like that, just playing with profiling. It's almost like a flat spin. So it's got the common pre-drop in the swooping turn. Nice vertical G, or vertical loop. Cooling them in. Yeah, that's a really neat zero-G roll. Oh, through the tree. Through the tree again. Ooh, that would be a pop of airtime right there. I really like that. The pacing in the second half definitely does feel a little bit better on this one. The first half is actually more drawn out, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But you look at the size, it feels... I would say this feels a little bit more graceful overall. And this one, it feels like it is, even in the first half some, but especially more in the second half, it feels like it punches, it kind of punches its way through. It's a much more consistently aggressive coaster. I really like the layout of this one. Yeah, Brawmek is right. Yeah, that was an amazing layout. The stats on here, That excitement really should be higher. The fear isn't as high, and I'm sure that probably pulls the excitement down a little bit, but the G-forces are definitely more modest on this one. Although you actually do get a really nice pop of airtime, and I think that is right here, and I really like that. And then, no, it's not on this one. Never mind, that was on Brawlmix. So you get that pop of airtime before the Batwing. I really like this. The second half of this ride, other than the Heartline roll, which this doesn't have, this really reminds me of Alpengeist, the second half. Very nicely done. This should be much higher than it is. Like, this is a coaster I could probably ride 10 times and not get tired of it. This is a coaster I could ride twice and be like, okay, I've got to take a break. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, it's consistently aggressive. Like Copperhead Strike, which is one of my favorite coasters, I cannot ride it more than like 2 times in a row without taking a break for a while. You have another coaster for me to check out. It's a Gravity Group wooden coaster. Let's see it. Alright, I'm going to take these out. Great job to both of you. Let me get that share code. Excuse me. Alright, out of that there. This actually fits nicely back here. Just the railroad station's a tiny bit in the way. What if we reverse? Oh, that could work really well, actually. So this here is interesting. Oh. It's just slightly offset by that there. Right, for a short time. This is interesting because it almost is a combination of an out and back, but also it has a twister section in the middle. I like that. Let's give this a ride. Yeah, tree in the way. I think I'll name mine Neck Snapper. Oh, no, no. Whoa, that was cool, the timing. Ooh. Hardly any brakes there on the mid-course. Very nice. I really like the layout of that, full of airtime. I like the twister elements. Several times you actually get banked to a, that 90 degree, that actually... Is that 90 or is it ever slightly overbanked? It's tough to tell. It's gotta be real close. Oh yes, look at that. That would be a killer ride. That was fantastic. I think there's a place for this in this park. That we could just flat out, you know, place it and call it a day. This was a phenomenal wooden coaster. Great job. Great G-forces. Laterals are a bit high in a couple places, but that's more acceptable with wooden coasters. Minus 1.6 on the minimum vertical. There's what? There is an inversion? Where? 100 degree overbank. Oh, so that counts that as a, as an inversion. I mean, look. That's not it. That, I don't think that's it. It's a little tough to see right here. Just barely. Other piece of track in the way. Oh yeah, I think it's right here. It's this one right here. Hey, JP Gaming and Streaming, welcome back. The third one is 100. Yeah, that's it right there. What a good 8 seconds of airtime. That's such a good wooden coaster. Very well done. Alright, gonna clear it for now, but we're gonna add that in the park. 100%. I'm not sure which invert I would go with. That's a tough call, because they're so different rides. I like them both, but it doesn't really make much sense to put two B&M inverts in the same park. That layout was killer. That was an incredible wooden coaster. Probably, I would go so far to say that that is the best wooden coaster I think I've seen. In terms of people creating them and putting them on YouTube, I'm sure there probably are some that do even better. But in terms of the ones that I've actually looked at and viewed, and I mean the stats don't lie on that. But that has to be one of my favorite. That's got to be the best wooden coaster I've seen. But that also is probably one of my favorite coasters. Period. That I've seen. I'm not good at building wooden coasters, to be honest. I haven't really done it. So I'm sure with practice I'd do fine. Alright, coming back to this here, because I really want to get this ride open. We need to figure out a way to, contest worthy, I bet it would win. Ooh. That, I think it could. I really think that could. That would be a tough, that would be a tough feat to pull off, but that definitely could. Now, what I'm not sure about is if this will build at, oh, no, that's perfect. No, it's not, because it sticks out over here. Really? I thought I had that right. It's the curb corners there. This is always the toughest thing, is getting these, buildings. Getting the floors in place of them. I had so much trouble with it on the station that I built for that wave coaster in the tropical park I've been working on. Alright, Dale's got the share code. Oh no, this is it right here, I see it. Same, I love a good wooden coaster. Woodies are my favorite, still my favorite type of coaster. Definitely my strong suit. Let me come back up. The great thing about the new Gen B&M inverts, Osiris, Park Asterisk, Monster is airtime. Yeah, I haven't really been on any of the newer ones. I'm not really sure if Banshee has any, but I can tell you, I've got airtime on Montu. And that was built in 96. But I was surprised. I got a little bit of airtime between the first vertical loop and the Immelman. And I got some really good airtime on the hill that comes up just as you kind of level out into the mid-course. I'm running out of room. This is a large coaster. Oh, it drops down. That's why we can't have it too low. Cannot build here, really. On the back of Dragonfire, you get whipped down the drop. Do we have the room to place this? This is going to be a tougher. No. It works there. We'll ride it here. Other than the fact it goes underground right here. Where is it? Going back up the list and I can't find it. You know, there we go. Okay, it's just it would be really nice if they had a button like this for your creations, and then for your for the workshop blueprint separately that you could just click and not have to go into the filter. It's okay, let it go underground. No! It's a plane coaster. That is a really tall. I'm curious about this one. Alright, here we go. Wow! I like the hang time at those top of the loops. That is really interesting how you have all these, like, outer banked curves. It's like you're coming into approach. Slows down right there at the end. And a very slow roll over. That's got to be some incredible hang time right there. That was a really interesting ride. That is very creative. I like that. Good stats, too. It's a little, looks like it's a little up there in intensity. Still well within, you know, in the green. Oh, but yeah. Well, look at the forces. Almost 7 G-forces, almost 6 on the laterals, -4. That's gonna cause people to red out. That is super cool. I want to see the heat map for that. Maybe your homies can help fix it. Yeah, I bet you know, Bromik and Jimpers are both really good at taking blueprints of coasters and fixing them up. I mean, they're good in their own right of building something from scratch too. But I've found that the two of them both do a really good job on fixing blueprints of coasters. And what I'm curious is where the intensity... Oh yeah, see there's a couple portions of it here that are just flat out too intense. The excitement stays high there, but for long periods where the intensity... Intensity's a holdover from the Roller Coaster Tycoon days. But when you have extended runs when it's that extreme, they get less excited and actually just frightened and more nauseous. But the nausea, yeah, see it kind of peaks through some of this here. Just kind of pulls down the excitement a little bit in some spots. But overall, this really is not a bad layout at all. One of the toughest things about this that I could see is, other than this low drop to the ground, the whole thing is elevated, so it would really be difficult to get this suited in a place without having a ton of high supports, or you'd have to do a lot of terrain work, which could be fun because then you're almost like buzzing the mountains or something like that. Let me come back and catch up on chat. Okay, so I got Jimpers there. Airtime on Talon at Dorney, not a lot, but it's there. PS Bromik, I totally agree. OGB and inverts offer air. They were just never designed with airtime being centric to them. And yeah, the newer ones being so. Official Cookie Pirate Microsoft Flight Simulator coaster. Oh, you elevated it on purpose. Yeah, okay, so you're flying high up as opposed to just, like, low to the ground the whole time. Okay, that makes more sense. I'd like to take a crack at it, but I'm off to bed soon. I could share it next time we're all here. Yeah, that would be really cool. I'd like to see what you all would do with it. Let me clear that. Very neat. I probably am going to reverse this, I think. I forget who, but somebody had mentioned possibly sending the top hat up through the top of this mountain here. I think that's a really cool idea. So we may do that. I really want to go back and get this finished. So we're going to clear that. And we're going to go in. Place this arch here kind of as an exit to the shop. I don't think B&M did not like airtime, they were just more interested in innovations and new tech. They really pioneered the inverted coasters. I think it would be cool to check out that Giovanola invert. Is it Anaconda, I think is it called? I'm not really sure why that... At Gold Reef City, yeah. Okay. That would be really cool to check out. Signing off, back to the salt mine tomorrow. Ooh. Thank you for checking out the coaster. See you all again. Yeah, you did a fantastic job with that. Alright, have a great evening. Thanks for hanging out. This terrain needs to come up ever so slightly, so what I'm going to do is click. Or, you know, the other thing we could do is keep the terrain level where it's at, and, no, let's just raise it, because probably it needs to be flattened. Across the entirety. Is that at... yeah, that's at ground level. That works out perfect. Now it's a touch off for some odd reason. Why is it not bringing that up over here? I don't understand that. Last thing I want to do is have a jagged floor. You know the other way around that, though. Okay. Is we can just do a stamp and have a working hide on. No. We'd have to somehow square it perfectly up on the building. This is always one of the trickiest things for me. because you have to line it up perfectly with the outside. See, like that, the curbs stick out. Does anybody have a tip on how to avoid that? This actually seems like it might be the best way. See, these things still stick out of the edge of the building. We can turn the curbs off. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know. Maybe it looks okay. That is pretty close. I think that's about as good as we're gonna get with that. Straight line right down through there. Kind of be the entrance into the gift shop there. And then what we would do for the entrance platform, staff path would have to come back up this way. I much prefer drawing coasters than actualizing them on here. I do have the patience to actually sketch them out, but I struggle to build them. It takes a lot of practice to build the coasters. What happened to my regular... Oh no, the priority queue on here disappeared. Oh, it's maybe because I changed the, What? Man. Ah, there we go. That's a little bit of a bug sometimes when it replaces the, Okay. Now, let me float an idea. What do you all think about the possibility of having the queues pass kind of overhead, like a bridge, through the gift shop? Should we do that or no? Because the downside to how I have them set up right now is they're gonna obscure the glass. There's just no way around that unless we build them out and then kind of have a staircase down here. Ideal situation would be working with someone who is proficient on building coasters here, I think. Well, there are people who watch my streams who could give you better tips than I could. So you're in the right place if you want somebody to kind of, I guess, coach you to build coasters. I highly recommend you get with Jimpers or Bromik. There are probably others who are really good at it too. Okay. I need to step away briefly. This is going to turn into a fairly long stream tonight. That's a good thing. I really haven't been doing long PC2 streams, and I think part of it, I was just getting burned out on the tropical part, redoing everything all the time. Alright, I gotta step away for a minute. I will be right back. Okay, we're back. Alright, let me get chat back, caught back up on chat here. Bridge queue sounds good. Okay, yeah, we can try it. I'm trying to think of how we would do that. The priority queue, I think, is going to be tough. What you said about the tropical park is very true. You limit yourself when you get hung up on stuff you don't even need to be. Yeah, I kind of built myself into a corner, so to speak. And got a bit too stagnant. And it really set me back on my motivation. And I'm honestly leaning on the idea of starting a new one. Kind of very much in the inspiration of the one that I built. And I think what I would do is take the experience I gained from that and the lessons I learned and kind of rebuild it with the same stuff, but in a different configuration where I don't get trapped on space and constantly find myself having to redo things, if that makes sense. Because that's what really impacted, my enjoyment for that park. And it was sad a little bit because of how much effort I had put into it. But I made it to like day 50 or something like that in that park, in-game. And this is on 15, and it's a full-fledged park in its own right. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is get rid of these two windows. I don't think we're gonna be able to get the priority queue and the main queue to go back down through here. We may adjust the position of one of these, but I know what we'll need to do is come in and we'll go floor piece. No, go for it then. If that was the issue, then why not? Yeah, it's hard to let go of all the effort that I'd put into that. But I get a lot of good stuff out of that park that we can save and reuse, so. Okay. The next thing... actually what I'm thinking? No, because the steps would still go up over the glass. I need to get this ride open. I want to do that before I get off tonight. Let's do the staff path first. That's going to be the easiest, I think. Does that clear? I think that is... no. Okay. So what we'll do right there. That works, that's perfect actually. So that's good. Priority queue, I'm thinking we'll do the same thing around the staff path perhaps. And then the main queue, we'll get creative somehow. Was wondering, do you think your desire to fly was linked to your enjoyment of coasters? That's a good question. I don't think they're closely related, but they do share some similarities. I don't think they're closely linked, either way. But I would say, I experienced roller coasters well before I learned to fly. But I've only really recently gotten back into the roller coaster scene, whereas I've loved flying for a long time. So I really don't know how to answer that, to be honest. That's a good question. It would make me think hard. So I think what we could do actually here... Ooh, this is gonna be tough. Let me see. We may have to turn a fixed height, or a fixed length. Let's do a 4 meter. But these queues are narrower. Gosh, okay. I'm gonna turn that off, and we're just gonna... I'll do the staircase. We'll curve it this way. Come on, turn again. That doesn't go low enough. Delete a section. Just kind of add on to that a little bit further. Still too high. I need to get a reference height to get it to sit right. See, that's aligned properly. I just need to get the height right to get it down onto this floor. And that looks like it would be... No, it needs to come up a tad. Yeah, they are independent, but mine is kinda linked on a primal level. You could literally say that about the desire to fly, full stop, though. Yeah, that's an interesting, that's a deep question. Why does that all of a sudden interfere with this? I think the easier thing to do would actually be to just build the queue kind of like this and line it up from here. That's 1-2 over. Now that's too far to that direction. Specs for things, what I like what you're doing now is why I spend forever on this game. Exactly! Not high enough. The building looks sick though, yeah. It really does. This is gonna come out super good. We're gonna turn the length snap off. And manually line it up as close to center as we can. That's pretty good. Still ever just barely through the, That works. That's pretty good. Okay. You know, honestly, the other thing we could do is get rid of the ceiling ridge and just have it run through that way. And then, for example, what we could do is just have it go straight up. And if we had it over here, would it reach? No, it's too steep. It would have to go up a staircase and curve back around. Alright. Let me figure that out real quick. At least we know where we need to start. And I want to get it here raised up as much as possible. Turn the length snap back on now. Have it turn and it should stay. No, it extends a little beyond the end. Out to here, and that lines up nicely. Have it come up. Seriously be worth it when you finish this. Oh, this is gonna be the highlight of the park right here, without a doubt. Now, why is that interfering? And we can just have it turn kind of roughly there. Oh, it doesn't like that. We'll need a flat section. Have it turn. There we go. That works. That's good enough there. What I think we'll do with the priority queue is bring it kind of following in the there. What we'll need to do is delete these over here. And that's our reference, though, for how wide it needs to be. Do I have a favorite coaster, by the way? Yeah, I think I've mentioned it before. It's real close between Iron Gwazi or Fury 325. I could honestly see it going either way. We could get rid of that, actually. Actually, the path right here is kind of hovering a tad. So we're going to turn the height snap off and try to lower it just a tad. So it's right here level. Because it descends through again. That's perfect. That's how we want that right there. I think what we would do from here, see, it's just above ground level. So height snap has to be off. Set right to ground level and bring it out kind of like that. And then what we could do is have it thinking to bring it around the building somehow. Height and speed invariably improve things, yeah. But I also really love Copperhead Strike, and that's not a fast or really tall coaster. It's just the hang time is so good. Now the question is, which way do we want this to go? Could probably have some filler queue over here and just run just lines. We could put some scenery in front of the glass, although I like being able to look out and you can kind of see all the different stuff out here, so I don't really want to restrict that view too much. So I'm thinking if we run it this way. Can we build a tile here? No, because it's going to tie into that. This is tough. Maybe going through this wasn't the best idea. But I actually really like the effect of that, though. We could have it come around and have all of the queue run like back and forth this way. We could have it run through the supports and kind of snake back and forth. I don't want to spend too much time on that though, because I really want to... The exit is set. Priority queue is set for the most part, and the entrance should be close together. Tell you what, I think getting this ride open right now is more important. We can always go back and do queue work later, especially if it fills up. So tell you what, I think we're gonna go ahead and do... Ooh, excuse me. A hiccup. Ooh, that's weird. We can kind of have it curve around. Maybe tie in there and have this come back in. Have it tie in right alongside there. We can redo this at a later time. But let's get this open. There we go. Scenery bonus 17%. Not much out that way, but that'll change. That's pretty good. I think this is going to be a big hit in the park. One thing we should do is definitely put some trash cans down. We'll clean those supports up. Put a trash can down here. Maybe one right up there. Let's get some benches in place. We'll work on the gift shop another time. Because I'm going to be jumping off here in a little bit. And that gift shop will take time. But we'll have plenty of room to place that down here. And we'll do the ride photos. We'll find a place to place a ride photo. And we'll set the counter up inside as well. What I'm thinking we'll probably do is place the ride photos right back here. And then have the souvenir shop counter up on this wall. Yeah, this is gonna be pretty good. Should be a very exciting ride. Let's turn that price down. Such a good ride. Look at this, we got the shop counter and people are actually using floats in this pool. That is really neat. But eventually all the water rides are going to get moved into a designated area for the water park. So... park is crowded. Not really many people still making their way over here. This is sending out with 3 people on it. Yeah, I think what we'll do is end up reversing this. I have to find a place for that wooden coaster, because that wooden coaster is going to be a must in this park. And back here is a really good place if we could just move some stuff around a bit. A fantastic ride, though. This is really good, too. This is going to be a popular coaster. People start making their way toward it. Can't find a staff room for her break. Let me give her a hand. Might not make it on time. Ah, it's fine. How was this ride doing? Oh, there's a good number of people on it. One's not super full, but there's a crowd for it. This is always jam-packed out onto the path. Yeah, but a bunch of these coasters need to be redone, and the front of the park desperately needs an overhaul. So there's a lot of work to do in this. But we'll figure that out. So I think that's a good place to leave it for tonight, because I gotta get up and do some stuff around the house before I call it an evening. So thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. This has been a blast. Tomorrow we'll be doing the new flight sim. We'll be doing a couple flights. I'm not sure if we'll come back to this game, but if I have time, I'll try. But we'll definitely be back on this Friday, and I've got some pretty cool stuff planned for a new park for the weekend. That's going to do it here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Appreciate each and every one of you. I had a good crowd tonight. And, yeah, we'll be back soon. Until next time, folks, as always, take care, stay safe. We'll see ya.